Hello everybody and welcome to PBG. I am very excited today to be talking about our spoiler cards, but first, before I even introduce Eric or myself or any of this stuff, I know some of you are here to just actually see the cards. So I'm going to quickly show you all the cards. Eric, don't read them yet. And then you can leave the video if you want. I'm not going to be upset or anything like that, but I understand that some of you are just here for the cards. So I'm going to stay on this for a few seconds for you to screenshot it. I know Eric's looking, but Eric's not reading. There's nothing internalizing going on under there.
I'm actually looking at the picture of myself.
Wow, I actually always look at myself when we're recording these videos, so I get it. So, Eric, I've actually had a lot of time to sit with Lucius, but I haven't shown you these. You're all seeing these for the first time.
Yeah.
And we're going to treat this like any other normal one of our videos. So, this is Lucius Galloway, the poet. Stat line is 2-4-1-5 and soaks for 8 and 6. His reaction is after you successfully evade an enemy by 2 or more, you discover 1 clue at your location, limit once per round. His Elder Sign effect is +1 for each enemy at your location. And his flavor text is, I'm just glad all my dreams have stayed in my head.
Okay, so first off, that flavor text is a hilarious dig at both Lovecraft and a number of characters in this game and a number of scenarios in this game, and I love it. I think that's really funny. Holy cow.
It's a strong ability.
Holy cow, and the stat line.
Stat line's very good. Stat line
is wild. I would never. I mean, okay, maybe I'd go magic to fight with this character. There is immediately a temptation to do that, to be a brawling Lucius Galloway.
Yes, yeah.
But it is like all killer, no filler, I think is the phrase.
Yes, it is. It's all killer, no filler for sure.
Wow.
So this guy, there was a lot of people who were like, this guy's probably going to be our rogue, our Seeker 05 Rogue 02. It's something that people have been like expecting to be for a while. Yeah. There's been a lot of investigators that are like, this would be perfect for it. He has the stat line for it. He has an ability that matches. So the question is he actually? And the answer is yes. He is Seeker 05 Rogue 02, the last investigator we have in this cycle of deck building that we've had since the core set. And he has nothing other special. He's actually just like pretty basic. He has only 1 copy of each of his signatures, which we're going to get to look at in a second. And then he's just 1 random base of weakness. So he's just a normal investigator, just a normal guy, except, he's a poet, so he's a little bit weirder than most other normal people.
I think he's an incredibly strong character.
He is, I think, as well, incredibly strong. It's been very enjoyable because I've been, like, a lot of people have been speculating that he was going to be Rogue, Seeker 05 Rogue 02. And I've known for a long time, actually. I even made a video where I predicted some Drowned City predictions, and because this was such a well-known prediction, I made that prediction knowing the prediction was true, so I practically lied to everybody. I was just pretending. I had joined in on conversations and being like, if this is actually true, I think this would work. So.
Welcome to parasocial relationships on the internet.
Beyond that, I think that we're going to get to his signatures and we're going to do like a big wrap-up talk about too when we see everything. But I want to talk about his flavor. I'm a big sucker of anyone with an artistic flavor as an artist myself. Anything that has to do with like writing, drawing, any sort of thing, like painting, like music making, right? Like all of that stuff, it just really resonates with me. So I really like his character design because of that. Let's talk about his signature, Book of Verse. I think this is actually a pretty strong signature asset. This is a 2 cost, takes up no slots. It's an item in a tome and commits for 2 wilds. It uses 1 inspiration, and you replenish this inspiration the first time you discover a clue each round. As a reaction, after revealing chaos tokens during a skill test, you can spend 1 inspiration. You get +1 skill value for the skill test. If you succeed by exactly 0, draw 1 card.
This is wildly strong. Mm-hmm. This is wildly good.
It does seem pretty efficient.
This is so good. Like, don't get me wrong, you absolutely want to be hitting that if you succeed by 0, draw 1 card. That is the golden egg that you are looking to lay. But just getting +1 skill value after a reveal is huge. Yeah. That means that effectively, as long as you're picking up clues, you can treat all -1s as zeros.
Yes, -1s is 0, draw a card once, like basically like once each round.
And that's crazy.
That's very good. Notably as well, if you've played a lot of Rogue, you know that there's also they have a very big succeed by X archetype, where they care about succeeding by big numbers. So this is also able to do that. Not necessarily just the turning the -1s into zeros, which is very good. but also just the ability of turning like a succeed by 4 to a succeed by 5.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of rogue events that if you succeed by a certain number, it does a bigger thing or like returns to your hand. And some of them are level 2, which works really well for him. Notably as well, there's the science archetype, which cares about by exceeding by exact amounts. So this is another way that you're able to do that.
That's wild.
I think it's a very powerful signature. So the question is, I mean, he has a powerful signature. Does he have a powerful signature weakness? Is it going to also hit hard? I think they actually, this one is going to be pretty annoying. Going to keep him in check, I think, pretty reasonably. You're going to have to think about it. So put Dreams of the Flood into your play in your threat area. The first time you discover one or more clues during your turn, take one horror and shuffle Dreams of the Flood into your deck.
I think that is really good. I think that's especially really good because of his 2 brain, which means that he's already suffering from the Mythos deck and suffering from horror in the Mythos deck. I have a feeling that Dreams of the Flood is going to actively shut down players on a lot of turns when they're in a position where they're like, I really need to just get the clues to end the game, to push the game state forward, and this is going to be a huge risk. This feels to me a little bit like you have an additional Mythos card in your deck.
Yeah, and big things too is that it keeps coming back. So, like, it's going to eat future draws.
Yeah.
Those are always annoying weaknesses. I think there's a lot of counterplay that can exist, but then it's going to require you to play that counterplay, or play it risky and all that thing. Or just stop discovering clues. Why not, right? Just be like, I'm done playing the game.
Yeah.
So here's all the cards here in just one full slide. Yeah, I think he's a really cool investigator. As always, it's hard for me to talk in great detail about investigators until we see the full cycle of cards, right?
What I believe, though, personally, is that unless we see a whole bunch of ways to negate horror or ways to resist horror that are specifically in his colors that are also synonymous with the things that he's doing, I think a lot of people are going to play Lucius thinking that Lucius is really strong and really powerful and are going to find that 8/6, as well as the 2 brain, as well as the Dreams of the Flood, and the 30 size deck, which I know there are various ways you can play an even tighter deck, which you might want to do, is going to hurt.
Yes.
He's also, because of his ability, like, yeah, he can search and he can seeker normally, but he especially shines when you're doing evasions. And I think a lot of people aren't going to realize how fragile he's going to be to horror damage.
I could definitely see that being the case. Like, I think it's one of those things that they're going to, it's like, they're going to underestimate how much they need to actually pack, which is likely because you can upgrade into a lot of good stuff both in Seeker and Rogue. But I do agree that if you're going to go a little bit loose on that, like, he could falter more than we are traditionally used to seeing Seekers falter in the Mythos phase, because he is a rogue. Like, he actually is kind of like, to me, more rogue than he is Seeker, right? Which is very interesting because of his ability and card pool, like, and all that, right? Like, it's one of those things where it's obviously people are going to compare this to Trish Scarborough. She's an investigator. She's a 2/4/2/4. And she has an ability that's very similar, which is if you discover a clue, if there's an enemy at your location, either discover an additional clue or evade an enemy at your location. It's a very similar kind of effect, but I do think that they're going to play differently, even though they kind of want the same thing. Yeah. I think he's going to be pretty powerful, though. He does seem like a very strong investigator.
Yeah. I think people are going to wish that he was a 6 health, 8 brain.
Oh, 100%. I agree with that completely.
Yeah, I think that was a really good choice by the developers to actually balance him quite significantly.
Yeah, especially because I do think Book of Verse is a pretty powerful signature. I think that Dreams of the Flood, well, I don't think as equally powerful, which is probably for the best, is still a very powerful effect.
There are going to be times where it's going to hit and you're going to ignore it.
Yep.
You're going to be like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. But then you see it the third time, and you're like, I'm really getting rotting remains by my signature. Like, that's, like, it is true, right? The third time you see this card, you're like, this is going to deal me 3 horror. Then you see it a fourth time, 4 horror, right?
Yeah.
So, pretty cool.
Well, or it's going to be, you're going to be like, yeah, I can take it because I've got, I've only taken 1 horror so far this round, and there's going to be other games where you're going to be like, I'm at 3 horror, and I'm taking 1 horror from Dreams of the Flood just to do what I'm good at.
Yes.
So I think one of the ways to tech around Dreams of the Flood, honestly, is not to try and discard it or get rid of it, but to be like, am I taking 1 clue off Dreams of the Flood? Or am I taking 2 or 3 clues? Like, you're going to want Dreams of the Flood to hurt you for as little as possible
Yeah.
is going to be a big part of his play style.
Yeah, it's like taking turns off when you can, trying to reshuffle your deck as well. I think that's like try to like, because if you have like the first time you draw Dreams of the Flood and you shuffle into a 15-card deck, you're unlikely to see it for a few turns. To a 10-card deck, it becomes closer. A 5-card deck, that thing's coming like before you know it. I think it's a very astute observation. One thing that I also think is very fun, you can see a new character. If their Elder Sign effect sucks, generally they're considered to have be a strong character. And this guy's Elder Sign effect sucks.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those things that I think is going to be really cool to play with. That is it for our spoiler. Short and sweet, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you dug these cards. And I hope you check out in the link. I'll have a video to all the remaining days that spoilers are coming. Make sure to go check out the other content creators. Give them some support. And also, if you're here, why don't you consider liking this video? And let me know in the comments what you think of the cards. And if you're excited to play Lucius Galloway, because I know I am.